Hello wonderful people, and welcome to another Easy Does It with Lizzie Does It yoga class. Today we will be focusing on flowing with the breath while also combining that with dynamic movements. We're going to be moving fast while also taking time to breathe and soak in and stretch every single part of your body. So grab your mat, grab your water, and let's flow and breathe and stretch. Okay guys, let's begin. Let's start at the top of our mats. Inhale, raise your hands up to the sky. Put your hands together in prayer and exhale all the way down to the first forward fold of the day. Bend your knees one at a time. Plant your palms firmly on the ground if possible. If not, you can just leave them on your shins or wherever it is more comfortable for you. You're going to bend your right knee, plant your left hand and lift up your right arm up to the sky, fingers pointing up to the sky. Make sure that left arm and that right foot is firmly planted while you swing the other foot around into a high lunge while still keeping your hands in the same position. Breathe. Exhale, bring that knee down and that arm up into a low lunge now. Exhale, palms down. Give yourself a half split position here. Inhale forward into low lunge. Exhale, half split. Inhale forward, low lunge. Exhale, half split. Now grab your toes with your left hand and bring them inward towards your body to stretch out your foot. Inhale, come into low lunge, hands up to the sky. Inhale deeply. And exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. You're going to bring them to the left corner of your mat and you're going to roll your foot onto the lateral side, onto the other corner of your mat, and let that leg drop, let the knee drop away from you. Bring your elbows down to the mat and breathe. This is your lizard pose. Now bring that left knee off the mat if that feels more comfortable for you. Do what feels right for your body at this time. Bring yourself up and you're going to grab those toes with your right hand. So we're stretching out our quadricep while also getting that stretch in the hip. Very good. Now come back into lizard. Recenter your foot in the middle of your two hands. Come into high lunge. Hands up to the sky, crescent lunge. Hands back down, bring that leg into plank, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Get comfortable here, move your legs a bit if that feels nice. Now we're going to bend our knees and almost touching the mat and then coming back into downward dog. And one last time. Now bend the knees, but this time jump into the front of your mat, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lengthen, exhale down. Inhale, halfway lengthen, exhale down. Inhale halfway, exhale down. Now let's do the other side. So bend your left knee as your left arm reaches towards the sky. You can look up if that feels good for you, or if not, just look down to the mat. Make sure you're stable here. And you're going to send that right leg back into a low lunge. as you bend that left knee even further. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your hands down and we're going to do our half split. Inhale forward, low lunge. Exhale, half split. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half split. Grab your toes with your right hand. Bring them in towards your body. Feel that stretch on your foot. Inhale back into low lunge, hands up to the sky. Bring your hands down to the right of your mat and bring your left foot to the left of your mat. Roll it to the lateral side of your foot. Bring that knee as low as possible, letting it fall away from you. Elbows down if that feels comfortable. If not, you can stay up on your hands. Feeling that stretch in your hips, the psoas muscle. Breathe. Now, extend that left arm back to grab your right toes. So we can stretch our quads while also feeling that deep stretch in the hips. Now let go of the toes and come back into lizard. Reposition your foot so that it's back in the center of your hands and your mat. Arms up, high lunge, crescent lunge. Arms down, back into plank. One-legged chaturanga dandasana, but we're going to hold it. Hover, exhale, upward facing dog, hips off the mat, look up to the sky. Exhale, come back into child's pose. Now roll yourself forward in a flowy wave-like motion as you come back up into upward facing dog. Exhale back into child's pose. Let's do this again. Flowy like a wave, upward facing dog. Exhale back to child's pose. Inhale and flow like a wave. Exhale back to child's pose. Bring your hands and clasp them behind your back and let them come up to the sky. Bring them back down. Release your hands. Now come into all fours to do cat-cow pose. Inhale. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Arching the spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Very good. Give your spine fluidity and motion. If it feels comfortable for you, rotate your shoulders, your head, and your booty as you do this exercise, and it feels so nice on your whole body. If it doesn't feel good, just keep going with a regular cat-cow motion. I highly encourage this with a very mindful disposition. Feeling your neck, your shoulders, your back, your ribs. Very good, guys. Now let's come into puppy pose. So leave your knees where they are, but bring your hands forward and your chest down. You can bring your forehead to the mat if that feels comfortable. Or if you're feeling more advanced, you can always bring your chin to the mat for an even deeper stretch on the neck and the shoulders. This is great if you've been sitting on a desk for a very long time to release those knots in the back. Come out of the position by coming forward into a cobra pose on your elbows. And breathe. Inhale and exhale. Bend your right knee. Reach for your toes with your right arm, with your right hand. Bring it as close to your butt as possible, as close to your booty as possible. And if you want a deeper stretch, go ahead and raise into a half bow. Reach with your left hand also. And lift your thigh and your knee off the mat in a half bow. Great. Now exhale and bring the knee down. Let go of the leg. Reposition yourself if you need to. And grab the other foot by bending the knee, reaching for it with both your hands. And breathe. Feel that stretch in the quads. And if it feels good, lift it up. Lift that knee and that thigh off the mat in a half bow position. Good job. Now that we've done half bow on each side, let's bring it up into full bow. Just do your best here. Lift up your thighs and your knees. Grab your foot with your hand. Hold this position and feel that stretch along your back, your shoulders, your thighs. A great stretch for your whole body. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, come on up. And bring yourself back into child's pose. Very good. Inhale, arms up to the sky, on your knees. Exhale, hands to heart. And again, inhale, hands up to the sky. And exhale, bring your hands onto your lower back. Arch the back. Look back with your head. This is your camel pose. Another more advanced variation, only if it feels good on your back. You can reach for your heels with your hands, or a much deeper stretch in the back and the neck. Let your head fall back. Close your eyes. To come out of the position, put your hands on your lower back and gently roll yourself back up. And counter this pose by coming into child's pose, reversing the movement in the other direction, moving the spine in the other direction. Feels good, doesn't it? You can roll around here side to side if that feels nice. Now come back up into a plank position. And downward facing dog. Reach those heels to the ground. Now look forward and take a jump into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hands up. Come on up, raise your hands up to the sky. Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, dive. Combining breath and movement here. Synchronizing, flowing. Jump back into plank, chaturanga, and hold. Hold. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Good job. Now raise your right leg up to the sky into a one-legged downward dog. Bending the knee and stacking the hips. We're going to flip our dog by bringing that bent knee to the ground and raising that right hand up to the sky. Flipped dog. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. Slowly come into side plank by bringing that right foot and stacking it with your left. Your fingers are still pointing up to the sky, your right fingers. Bend the right knee and bring the ball of your foot to the inside of your thigh. Exhale, come back into side plank. Bring your hips down, arm back down, and inhale, come back up into side plank. Exhale, come back into plank. And downward facing dog. Other side, left foot goes up to the sky, stacking the hips, bending the knee. Flip your dog to the other side this time. You might shake. I am shaking. It is a challenging position, so stay in your one-legged downward dog if that feels more comfortable for you. Inhale. Bring yourself slowly into side plank. And breathe. Feel the shake. Bending the knee. Bring the ball of the foot to the inside of your thigh. And come back into side plank. Bring yourself down into plank pose. Hold. And chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Slowly walking your feet forward, bending the knees, and coming into cosmic egg pose. So come onto your heels, onto your toes if possible. Hug your knees. Tuck your chin into your chest and breathe. Feel this embrace. Now bring your hands down as you gently sit yourself back down to the mat. Inhale, stretch your feet forward. Come into a seated forward fold. Come down as low as possible. With every exhale, coming a bit lower, letting go a little more. Breathing here. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, back down. Inhale, up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Good job. Now slowly roll onto your back, one vertebrae at a time. Extend the left leg and bring your right leg up to the sky. And bring it in towards you with your hands, grabbing by the ankle or the calf muscle. Exhale, other foot comes up. Inhale. Exhale, breathe. Bringing your forehead towards that knee, towards that leg. Feeling that deep stretch. Now bring both legs back together and spread them apart. Feeling that deep pelvic stretch. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale, bring your legs back together slowly. Hug your knees, bring your forehead to your knees. Now come back to your back. We're going to do a cat stretch. So arms stretched out like a T. Bring your right knee up and stretch it towards the left side while your right arm is extended and you are looking towards your right. Nice. Stretch that knee. Other side. Left knee comes up. Left arm extended to the side as you look to your left. Try to keep your shoulders on your mat. Exhale. Let it go. Let's come into our final posture, Shavasana, corpse pose, most important pose, where we consolidate everything we've done today. Thank your body for all it does for you, for getting you through this workout. Breathe. Stay in this moment. Take deep inhales and even deeper exhales as you make them long, longer than the inhale. Set an intention to continue with this peace and this relaxation, this mindfulness, to keep it for the rest of your day. Inhale peace. Exhale that peace into every cell of your body. Inhale peace. Exhale, spread it throughout the whole body. Inhale peace. Exhale, begin to slowly wiggle your fingers, your toes, your hands. Stretch your hands up. Come onto your side. And come on up to seated pose, cross-legged. Get comfortable in seated pose. And we're going to stretch our upper body by bringing our left elbow to the left side as your right arm reaches towards the left, feeling that deep stretch along the ribs. Let's take it over to the other side now. Getting that deep side stretch on the other side. on the left. Exhale, come on up. I'll roll your shoulders forward a few times and roll them back a few times. Roll your head back. Inhale, roll up to the other side. Last big inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Bow down to yourself, bow down to your heart. Thank yourself, and thank you for joining my class. If you liked it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more yoga classes and more self-care tips. Namaste. Have an awesome day.